Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order. Today's our weekly finance meeting for the commissioners. Today's September 28th, 2022. Appointed hour 1:30 p.m. arrived. So we'll begin with an opportunity for any public comment. Do we have anyone?
Nobody online.
Okay. All right, we have the minutes in hand for last week's meeting, it's 21st. We need action on it.
I will move to approve the minutes of September 21, 2022.
Okay, and I will second that. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, that brings us to item 4, our topic of discussion topics for today. We will start with our guests from the Housing and Redevelopment Authority for our quarterly update.
Oh, is this? The right one up. I think we have. This is from June. That's the one that's in my packet.
Is that okay? All right. Well,
That's the one you,
that's what I sent you. Okay. Well, I will. We'll swing it here. So I have the right one on my head, and I'll send you this. Okay. So basically, we are at the moment working to get our housing choice vouchers, our program up. The problem right now in the county is we're having a hard time finding available units. So we have about 1,300 vouchers allocated to the county and Perry County. We are at right now 1,176 out there on the street. That is a bit of a problem because realistically, we've seen a decline every month. So now we're trying to hold steady. And what the reality is, people are just not being able to find apartments in the county. So we've done a couple of things. We've raised our payment standard, meaning we've raised how much we can give to a landlord. We've increased the number of pools from our list. So we are pooling actively every 2 weeks and sending out letters. So we constantly have a pipeline going. And we're conducting some landlord outreach efforts. Right now, there's about 500 plus landlords participating. And we have 2,753 people, families on the waiting list. And in public housing, we have 149 units and we have 1,098 families on the waiting list. We have 59 units of public senior housing and there's 276 families on the waiting list. So we're trying every which way to see where we can get landlords to participate. We've reopened the emergency rental assistance program. So that at the moment, we've actually spent all of our first tranche of money from the federal government. So had 2 sets of funds, number 1, number 2. Number 1, we have fully spent, so we should be good. We had to have those spent by September 30th. That is complete. We're done, good to go. So that was shy of around 6.9 million was spent from those first funds. Our second round of ERA money, right now we actually are on track to have spent all of what was given to us by the federal government so far. They gave the county 40% up front, and if we spend that, then we can request more. I think we're almost down to 0 at this point. So we're going to be requesting, at least Stacey's working on that, additional funds from that. So we're still seeing demand, but most families are maxing out. You're only allowed 18 months of assistance. We're seeing them hit the 18 months. So that's been pretty active. Right now, our first time home buyer program, back in 2021, we had 161 people participate over the year. Through September, we're actually 134. So we're doing fairly well and probably will be on track to exceed last year's number of individuals. And to date, with down payment assistance, we've spent about $97,000 to assist first-time home buyers. When it comes to housing counseling, which is something new that we just initiated last July of 2021, there was about 16 hours of counseling that happened this year, and we're only to September, we're at 67 hours. So housing counseling is a big area that HUD and the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Authority are investing in. So we are actually hiring up more housing counselors onto the staff. So that is something that is going on right now. As I mentioned, housing choice vouchers, it's hard to get vouchers out on the street. It's hard to get landlords to participate. So we're doing incentives. If you are a new landlord, you get $1,000 right off the bat to take someone from the Section 8 waiting list. In addition, we're also doing some vacancy payments. If you hold a unit, we're doing a $500 above the security deposit that we will assist if they do greater damage. We also have quarterly landlord meetings. So we're having a housing choice happy hour on November 3rd at Isaac's in Ross Moines. So we did a breakfast here in Carlisle. We're doing a happy hour on the West Shore. We'll switch it up and at some point end up in Perry County as well. But we've been seeing a great interest from landlords to be able to talk, meet with us, voice complaints, concerns, or just show interest. So I will be sending that out to everyone and make sure you're invited. We have our new website that is going to be finished by the end of 2022. So we're in the final stages of that. And then we've also awarded a number of RFPs. So we put out an RFP for architectural and engineering services. We've awarded that to Hamill Architects out of Lancaster. They've done a great deal of work throughout Lancaster, Harrisburg, York for their housing authorities. So it just seemed like a really good fit since we're going to be doing a huge capital investment into our public housing for the county. In addition to that, we're going to be awarding a painting and janitorial bid this October. We awarded a landscaping bid to Timmins Supreme Services. They are going to be getting all of public housing up to compliance with HUD standards. So we are actively investing. We also are going to be awarding roof replacements. So we're replacing the roofs on public housing. So all of that should be taken care of. We're doing cleaning services. So that was awarded to Bailey B Cleaning. We have an RFP out right now for appraisal services, our auditor, and our legal. So some new programs we're launching. We have a small landlord revolving loan program. So I have some funding that is from a very old loan program that has been around for a long time, but sort of now just been sitting. So it's about $500,000+. And so what I've done is taken that money and I've put it into a small landlord revolving loan program. So you have to be a landlord with 10 or less units in the county. Generally, those are folks that have a tougher time getting funding to fix up their properties. And so we would be offering low interest rate loans to those landlords to fix up their units. So you can renovate up to 10 units at $20,000 per unit, and you have to rent them to a low to moderate income person or someone on Section 8. We've already had interest from someone here in the borough. We've had interest from particularly the borough of Newville to push this out as well. There's a lot of just general interest from landlords that we're seeing. So we should be that is prepped, and Michaela Kitchen over here is my redevelopment specialist, and she's going to be adding that to our website and getting that launched very soon. So everything is good, approved by my board and ready to go. We'll also have about $300,000 for blighted property removal, acquisition, and renovation. So that is a revolving loan program, and I'll be getting that approved in October with my board, but that's about $300,000 that we'll be putting out there to anyone who has a blighted property that wants to renovate it and get it back up and running, essentially. And then something we'll be coming to the commissioners with is we're going to expand our Street View grant program. So the county has a grant program that the maximum grant is $12,000 to renovate a facade. Right now, it's only in historic districts. The goal is to expand that. I think we limit ourselves a little bit into specific municipalities, and the goal is, since it's countywide, we should open it up. So we will be opening that up, and it's focused on improvements to basically mixed-use buildings. So it really tailors to downtowns, but there are some other properties that could meet that.
Do the municipalities have their own, some of the municipalities still have their own programs, or do they just, is that front for you? Or
some do. I think Mechanicsburg has a small program that they have. Carlisle Borough uses their CDBG money to have their own specific program, but a lot of the other ones I think have either dried up or don't have it.
Okay.
So we will open that one up and expand it. So we'll be coming to the commissioners with that. We've also hired a housing locator. So the biggest issue we've seen is, yes, people finding units, but part of the phone calls that we get are, we can't find units, where do I look? It is a challenge for certain individuals to go off to every website and look around and try to find something. It's fairly impossible sometimes. So we have hired an individual whose entire job is just to reach out to landlords and find out what you have, where you have it, put together a list. So she has started that. She's sending out letters. She is actively looking for throughout Cumberland and Perry. So whenever we do a pool with Section 8 tenants, automatically when you respond, we can have a list ready to go for you, or at least be able to point you in the right direction. So hopefully that will help us, and it will help us recruit landlords. So we're going to make a conscious effort to be out there actively getting individuals. We do have a couple of events we will be at. So we were invited to the Perry County Senior Expo on September 30th. So we'll have staff up there. We're going to be handing out some treats at the Treats and Treasures over at Latoid Elementary on October 20th. And we'll also be at the Cumberland County Senior Expo on October 12th. And then again, our November 3rd Housing Choice Happy Hour. So that is where we're at right now. So a couple of new programs in the works, and I'm still going to be coming up with a few others. But at this moment, that is where we stand, and I'm hiring in a few other positions. So.
You mentioned a pool for light remediation. Is that derived from the transfer tax?
So
Is
that
light money?
it's separate actually. So
Separate,
I
okay,
have
so
the demolition
it's-
fund, which is the transfer tax, so you can demolish it, and then I have a revolving loan fund to acquire and
Okay.
remediate. So we're seeing a lot of interest in the blight removal, and some landlords coming to us with interest in purchasing properties. And so it's now just a matter of putting the money in their hands. And particularly with interest rates going up, it's sort of benefiting me to have these loan funds floating around. So
The revolving loan fund for small landlords doing the renovations, how long are they locked into being a unit?
they're locked in for 10 years. So it's locked in for the term of the loans. It's going to be 10 years. So it has to remain affordable. So we're going to do some kind of restriction on the property, just like we do with any of our programs. So it will remain affordable. So, and I think right now it's incredibly poignant since the borough has started a rental registration here as well. So you're seeing they're doing inspections, and you're just going to start seeing around the county more need to improve their properties.
Mary, do you ever have a number in mind of how many affordable housing units or rentals you'd like to have an increase in per year? Like, have you quantified that?
I haven't quantified it. It's been a little bit challenging to figure, because we're when it comes to the vouchers themselves, so we look at it and go, okay, we roughly try to stay around 1270. That's
Okay.
kind of our goal between both counties, because you want to give yourself a buffer. We try to stay around that 1270. So I'd like to see us be able to get to that place and have more, but I've never been able to quantify it, because we're quantifying it based on how many vouchers are able to be on the street. So right off the bat, you have that 1270 as portable. But it's something we can think about at this point. And actually, I should say HUD gave the county another 10. So now we're actually at 1341.
1341 HUD vouchers.
HUD vouchers. There's some thought about what if we put more of those vouchers into projects. So we could do, they're called project-based vouchers, which automatically means a unit is designated for a Section 8 individual. It helps to subsidize a lot of affordable housing projects. So we're looking at maybe converting some of these into those type of units, but I've never really quantified it. And I think right now it's a bit of a challenge even figuring out what's where, particularly in Perry.
Yeah, do we have builders or developers that are interested in investing in affordable housing in the county?
There are. So we've seen a lot. Right now, there are 2 projects that are being built. There are one is in Lemoyne. There's another project that is currently happening over in Hampton. There's one in Shippensburg that was just approved for tax credits. Safe Harbors project has been approved over in over here in Carlisle. There's another site over in Shippensburg that is going after tax credits. I think there'll be another one here in the borough. There's a great deal of interest, and there's been interest in Perry. I've gotten there are two projects going to be happening up there too from developers. So there's interest in the county. I think right now for them, it's just finding the land, the available land to do the projects. So I think there's a lot of interest. I've had a couple of smaller developers come reach out, but for smaller projects, it's harder to put the funding together because they can't really, tax credits become a little bit of a challenge. So, but there is a lot of interest from people wanting to give their land, develop it. It's just making it work. That's the hard part.
Okay. So when I ask this question, and you talk about affordable housing and developers wanting to do this, like, what does that affordability mean? Like, is there a number on that?
So basically, when it comes to affordability, we do something called, the idea is that a person under 80% of the median income should only be paying 30% of no more than 30% of their income for rent. So right now, I don't have it with me, but I believe for one person in the county, 80% is about $51,000 or less. So if you take 30% of that, that would be, and we have a rent reasonable chart for Section 8, which we consider reasonable for individuals. So I can get that over to you. But that's,
I would love that. Thank you.
We'll get that over. And so that's what we're looking at. And for first-time home buyers, it's a different type of reasonability when it comes to purchasing homes, but there's also significant interest in developing things of that nature. So if we could develop between us and Tri-County Housing Development Corp, who's been instrumental in trying to purchase homes to convert to first-time home buyers, there's a conscious effort in that. And there's another development group that's come into Mechanicsburg, I believe, that's trying to do some first-time home buyer type projects. Those are very limited. The county gets only 500,000 or so in home funds, and so that's one of the only means we have to subsidize those type of single families.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. So, but this is a private interest, right, in wanting to develop
there is
truly affordable housing.
There's a significant private interest that's interested in the county. I'm trying to think of how to encourage that, and basically try to figure out how to cobble the funding together to do it, because we could do some revolving loans for those individuals, like I said, a small landlord fund, some other type of housing fund, because right now with what we have and what PHFA has, you really are restricted to some of the bigger players. That's kind of who you're relying on. And it's hard to take some of these programs and their requirements and translate that to another individual. But we have people who want to sell us properties for first-time home buyer, and it's, well, okay, how do I cobble this together? So there's that challenge. That's the hard part for a average person, let's say. So we've talked about, I found some additional old revolving loan money, and what do I do with that? I was bouncing around the idea of trying to start a program, particularly for minorities and women owned, that to get you into being an investor, essentially, like, can we help you get an investment property and become that landlord? So we're mulling around a few different ideas. Yeah. Ever evolving.
I know, it's interesting.
Oh, you're very welcome. Well, thank you. Thank you.
No further questions? On your way. Free to stick around or to leave.
We'll hit the road, but thank you for the
All right, that brings us to our second topic for today, vector control. Leveraging technology to better serve residents, the one and only John Bittner.
Thank you for the invitation. Okay. So, first of all, thank you for giving me some time. Two, thanks for supporting the program as you've done, and also the big support for, as this will show you, in technology and moving forward with that. So what I wanted to do was just show you the latest, greatest, and of what I'm doing with it. So is it the down?
It's the right one.
It's the
Yeah,
right one.
looks like-
Okay, so first we have, since 2014, our inspections that we do for weights and measures and our mosquito collections have all been done online, which simply means that the old way was, to be in the field with your paper copies, duplicates, do your inspection or collect your mosquitoes, hand the duplicate to the business, come back, enter it all, do it all over again, enter it into the database. So what online does is on our phones, able to enter everything on the spot. I'm inspecting your business, or as I'm picking up the trap for mosquitoes, comes right back to the county, it's entered. And then anyone else at the county can go in and say, oh, he just set a trap, over here or there. So we've been doing that. Last year, we added the mosquito dashboard, which really is a way for the public and anyone else who wants to go to our webpage to actually see where we are and what we're doing. So whenever you look at that, you'll be able to see where the gravid traps are, where we treated, and that kind of stuff. The two new ads for this year are the online complaint form and our evening spray information, which is GIS online. So, complaints we used to do the old way. And so now, brilliant idea. So like, instead of having somebody call and hope that somebody's in the office to get the message, we've changed things a little bit and we've gone to where, and I have had this happen many occasions where someone will call and say, oh, I have a skunk issue, blah, blah, blah. I say, okay, the best thing to do is just to go online, just like 5 questions, fill it out. It plots where you are. And if it's a skunk thing, it'll give you a reply. It says go to the game commission. If it's a mosquito thing, it'll actually plot you on the map. And what that plotting on the map does, so here's a little questionnaire that we ask and a little map that shows you to pick where it is that you live. And then it gives you a little thing that says, hey, thanks for filling out the form, buddy. We got it. So what happens when that happens is you get an email. In addition to that little reply, you get an email from us based on what you filled out on the form. So there's 4 choices on the form. Is it a mosquito problem? Is it a weights and measures problem? Is it a wildlife problem, or is it something other? So the first 3, you get a individualized reply telling you what you may do in the meantime until we get back to you. And at the same time, when you hit that send button to put the complaint in, it populates the location on the map that we have, which is the dashboard map. And then it also sends an email to all of our staff. So we'll get an email and says, oh, John just put in a complaint. So if I put in as a citizen a mosquito complaint, this is what you would get back. It would say like, hey, in the meantime, here's what usually causes mosquito problems. Look around your property, et cetera, et cetera. And we'll get back. We'll have somebody actually talk to you in the next 24 hours. Here's where it plots it on the map. So this is all my complaints throughout the county. And then I can pick up any one of those complaints and see that John Bittner filled it out, what his issue was. And the nice thing about this is the email then that each of us staff get that says, hey, the complaint was lodged. Okay, so what that means is if I'm in the circle on the right setting a gravid trap and the complaint came in on the left 10 minutes ago, I can say, oh, that's just down the road. I'll go get that now. Instead of like not having any of this and driving back to the office and then go, oh, we had a complaint. Now I'm going to drive back out somewhere. And, this is more relevant like for the West Shore because, a lot of the population obviously is on the West Shore. So the majority of the complaints come down there. So what used to happen was I'd be on the West Shore doing something, come back and then find out 3 people come from the West Shore needing help. And if I'd have known that, I could have helped them while I was down there. So now we do this. So that's what the online complaint form does. So the one example I can give you is I had someone call me about mosquitoes. She was in Camp Hill. I said, fill the form out. We'll get to you with 24 hours. 10 minutes later, she called me and said, I thought you said it was going to be 24 hours. He was just here. I said, oh, he was in Mechanicsburg. He just drove over, took care of it right away. So it's a better way to serve the customer. And it's a better way for us to react to an issue that may be happening with, especially mosquito habitat, and if we need to do it. So what it does is it can bring us to the point where we can actually get same day service for the residents that are out there. This is our intern from the summer, Lynn. She was here for 2 years in a row. And what she likes about the system is we can take somebody from New Mexico, Montana, you pick them out and come in, and they can find our traps. Because when I go out and put a trap down, I'm gonna actually plot the location on my phone. It's gonna show up on her phone. It's gonna show up on everybody's phone that has access to it. So then if we said, hey, we want you to go out and pick up that trap, you just click on where the trap is, a little G, and you go like, oh, it gives me the address, but I don't know how to get there. I don't even live here. You just hit the directions thing. You don't even have to copy and paste into Google Maps. You hit the directions thing and it tells you how to get there. And then you get out there, and when you get out there, you hit it again, it brings up the form that says, oh, John Bittner put this trap there at 10:08 this morning, blah, 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 and you're there. So I asked Lynn to give you just a little of this plays of her take on the whole system. Okay, so it didn't play, but anyway. Then she says, I know. Well, what she basically said was, so every year, DEP has what they call the Mosquito Academy. And that's for like all the interns to go, or some of us old fogies to go back and, refresh our memories and stuff. And what she was saying basically was the biggest thing that she got out of the Mosquito Academy was having been here last year and used this last year. She went to the Mosquito Academy this year, and no one else uses this, not even the state. And some of that is due to they can't get reception out in the middle of Monroe County or wherever. But some of the others is they just have been a little slower moving forward with the technology than we've been here. So the other thing we added was the evening spray information to the GIS online. Excuse me. So it used to be like I would draw a spray map in ArcMap. I'd print that out, give it to the nighttime spray guy. He'd go out there and follow that map, and then come back the next day and say, here's what I did, record what he did and all that stuff. So now I draw the map in ArcMap, then I send it down to a unit that goes portable with the truck, and it tells them what the route is. So got rid of the paper. And then as they're spraying, it actually creates the route where they actually spray. And whenever it does that, when I create the map, I'm looking for, as Gary knows, I'm looking for apiaries. I'm looking for hypersensitive people. I'm looking for our trapping locations when I'm making the map, and then where our public complaints were and if there were positives. And then that's how we create the actual spray map. And again, what makes the technology nice is we had a spray that we planned on a Monday, and the information went out on a Friday. And Saturday, I got an email from Gary saying, hey, what about the hypersensitive people? And what's nice is everything now I put on one Cumberland County. So at home or wherever I am, as long as I got my phone, I could jump on there and get him an answer or get you an answer, what the situation is, or anybody for that matter. So instead of saying, hey, wait till Monday and I get back in the office, I'll get to that for you, I can get it right away. So from the 22nd to the 24th, that pink was, I'll go back to that. The pink was my spray route. Excuse me. So when John loads that into the truck, that's what he's got to see where he has to spray. And then, of course, we put it on, excuse me, on the calendar, and then it goes on the web. And then also the notify me whenever I put something on the calendar. That notification goes to 333 people that are on a list saying, hey, either mosquito control or black fly control is going to happen. You need to look at your email and see what the scoop is. Now this shows, again, the spray areas, spray, and then the colored in area is where he actually sprayed. And then the little line that almost goes across the middle is actually whenever they travel. So what happens sometimes is, then the next day we'll get a complaint. And Gary says, hey, I was on this map to be sprayed last night and I didn't see, hear, or smell you guys out here. So like, what's the scoop? So then I go onto my map, find Gary's location. So I enter his location up there above the arrow. That takes me to where he lives. And then I can also click on the exact spot where his house is and get the information of what happened at that time. Say, hey, Gary, we were there at exactly 10 PM. The truck was going 3 mile or 5 mile an hour. And here's how much product we put out. So yes, we did get you. Or if he's not on that map, then I can say, no, we did not get you, and give him an explanation for that. So it's an opportunity for us, again, to give somebody same day or very next day service and sometimes immediate response to the residents and their concerns. So in summary, the finance connection is you better use the resources. So my staff can expand what they're doing. Operation of this stabilizes my expenses, and it heightens our transparency. There's nothing really that we do that you can't find online. It simplifies the operations, meaning that I know where staff is and what they're doing, and they know what I'm doing. And as that gets updated, they can see that. And we can all see where everybody is. And that ties in with the communications among us and among the public. We get the immediate feedback from whomever, whether I be talking to a resident or a county commissioner or whoever it may be, and which enhances our productivity because it's going like, yeah, we're hit, we got this going. You know, it makes you want to work. And then again, the really biggie thing is same day service as residents, so they can say, hey, these guys did not ignore us, they got to us right away, and hopefully we're happy campers. That's it.
It is very hip.
Any questions?
It is.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
It is. I mean,
Sounds like it's good.
Gotta be it. Yeah, bring it on. Okay, thank you for your time.
Thanks.
Yep.
I guess a couple years ago, John's control weights and measures got added to the planning department. So I got to work a lot with John on everything that he does. And every year we meet regularly, monthly basis, kind of go over, talk shop. It always, I think, inspires me too, to see what John's doing. Every year it's something, let's try this, let's try that, and pushing the bar forward, especially on technology. You know, we owe our residents professional and timely service. And everything that John's done with the help of GIS and INTIP provides that. John's been with us for a long time. We're very fortunate for that. I think sometimes there's a tendency folks get comfortable in a position like, yeah, I'm doing that. That's not John at all. Not getting comfortable, always trying to do new stuff. And we're very lucky to have him and his team on staff here to do exactly what he's shown today and take our mosquito program, really make it a science of how we're doing and what we're doing. So it's defensible to all of our residents. They see our trucks out there and they know we're doing our best. They know we're going to answer the phone. They know we're going to be at their house and give them the service they deserve. So I can't say enough good things about John and this team. Really grateful to be able to work with them.
That's good. Great. Appreciate the vote of confidence. Awesome. Any questions for John? Anybody? All right. Good stuff. Okay. That concludes our topics for discussion, but we do have an opportunity for any additional business to come forward. Staff, nothing? I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
so moved.
You're adjourned.